Hey friends, don't mind my appearance. This is just like a lazy at home editing day, but I'm editing my orange juice video and the first couple of clips have just corrupted and vanished. So my introduction to this video is gone. So I just wanted to quickly jump on here and say hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby if you're new here, and welcome to this video. So we are making some orange juice. Orange juice is fresh. Well, the oranges are fresh from my tree that we have growing out the back. And yeah, I just harvest some. I did have a couple of clips of that are gone as well. But we got the canner on, the pressure can. I am using the Presto pressure canner, but it is a water bathing project, not a pressure canner project. So if you have a large enough pot, you can can some freshly squeezed homemade orange juice as well. I just use the canner, the pressure canner, just because of the size of the pot, if that makes any sense. But otherwise, I will just give you guys a clips of what I got of this video, which it is majority of it. It's just, yeah, like I said, the first couple of clips, me introducing this video and me picking some oranges. Unfortunately, I lost that file, but otherwise, enjoy the video. I got my pressure canner out for the orange juice. That's what we're about to start. We're not pressure canning it, we are water bath canning it. I haven't water bathed anything before. This is going to be my first time. But essentially, here I have got some water. This is a jar. I filled it up with water and I've placed it in just so I know. So I need to keep filling it up because we want the jars completely submerged, and then again about an inch or two above that. And I'm using my pressure canner just because it's a big pot. Because it's a big pot, you want your pot so with your jars inside, with the water above, it can continuously boil for about 10 minutes without over boiling. So we'll be using this. So you got my rack on the bottom, my canning rack. That's completely fine. If you're going to use a regular pot or a pot that doesn't have a rack, all you want to do is just grab a tea towel and put that on the bottom, just so the glass jars aren't sitting directly on this pot, which is then directly onto the heat source. Alright, so as you can see, I've got all the jars in and the water is about up to here. So that should be plenty. And I'm just going to take some water, not water, what's this? Vinegar, and just add a splash. And that's just going to help reduce watermarks inside the canner and for the jars as well. Alright, so now with our jars, because the water's just cold, I'm going to set this lid on top, but I'm not going to like lock it or anything. You don't need to do that. I'm just setting the lid on. And we're going to turn the heat up on high to get this warmed up. So what we're doing with the water bathing is we got our oranges, which I got in here. They're fresh from our orange tree out the back. I don't know if you can see, but this is like about 3/4 full, this bag. And I got 3 bags about 3/4 full. Just obviously I didn't want it to be too heavy. So what I might do, so yeah, while I am cutting these in half, these aren't the first oranges either. We have been eating them fresh. Oh, smells so good. But yeah, while I'm cutting this in half, so the process that we are going to be doing is water bath canning. We want to hot pack is the correct term. Look at this teeny tiny one. But, so good. So yeah, we want to hot pack our orange juice. So we're having hot water, hot jars. We will be heating up this juice as well. And it's a very similar process, heating up this juice, as to pasteurising the juice. So it's essentially just killing off any bacteria that's living in the juice to make it shelf stable and safe to have on our shelf. Doing this method as well does also kill off some nutrition, but it's a very similar practice that you find if you buy bottled orange juice at the supermarket. Even if they're fresh orange juice in the refrigerated section, it's really pasteurized, or very similar process of becoming pasteurized. and then bottle it up. So if I were to get this orange, juice it and drink it, the freshest and most nutrition highest value, if it sits in the fridge for 24 hours, the taste and quality is a lot low. But then if we heat it up and pasteurize as similar as we can get to pasteurize the orange juice, we can then put it in a big jar or container, drink some, store it in the fridge, and the next 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 days, it will still be just as good as the day one that you open up that juice. So that's what the juice is, or what happens to your freshly squeezed orange juice in the supermarkets, is this process. And then what we're going to do, we're going to water bath it, so then it doesn't have to stay in the fridge, and it will obviously last longer than 5 days. But once we open up the can, that's our can that we're canning, once it's been on the shelf, we still have that long life, or that lifespan, I should say, to store it in the fridge. So although the nutrition value does go down compared to just juicing these oranges and drinking it straight away, it's just preserving the oranges. There's really nothing else you can do to preserve freshly squeezed orange juice. And although the nutrition does go down, there is still so much good nutrition and vitamins in these oranges, even if you were to essentially pasteurize them like we are going to be doing. So that's a little spill on that. I've been doing a lot of research about it, and that's the method I've decided to go. So I'm just going to get these oranges cut, juiced up, canned. I've got no idea how many we are going to be making. I don't mind if this is too much as well, too much juice, including the other bags that I do have, then I won't juice them all. I might actually pause that and start just juicing these. But yeah, then I won't juice them all. I can share them out to family and friends. I just wanted to make sure to give me and Nick hopefully a year's worth of orange juice on our pantry shelf, and then whatever left is of an abundance we can then share, which I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case. We'll be sharing these. So simple orange electric juicer. You can juice them by scratch, but with the large quantity, I'm glad I got this.
So this juicer is just the cheap Kmart juicer. To be honest, it is quite annoying and frustrating. This is the second or third time I've used this juicer. I have made batches of fresh juice just for Nick and I, just for that day that I've made it, definitely on a much smaller quantity than what I am doing right now. It works, as you can see, it does work. It's great for a budget-friendly or a cheap alternative, but considering this is something that I would be doing each year, I do want to invest in a nicer quality juicer next year. But what I'm doing is the max line was reached, so I tipped it into my pot because we need to heat up this juice. And I was also trying to figure out and calculate, I have 9 cans in my canner, that's how much that will hold. So with 9 cans being 500 mils, I want about 4.5 litres of juice to go in my pot, and then a little bit extra for if any were to just evaporate in the process of the quote-unquote pasteurizing process to make these juice. I also did put a glove on just because the citrus was kind of irritating my hand. But yeah, I'll just keep on juicing these oranges.
Alright, unfortunately the lighting is awful again, but this is 4 litres of orange juice on my pot. I just decided to keep it at the 4 litre mark. And as you can tell as well, compared to the pressure canner, that pot is tiny. Also inside this pressure canner, it is getting nice and warm in there. So what I'm going to do, I'll leave it like that. I'm just going to turn the heat off for the canner. The jars are at a good temperature. Now what we want to do is get this orange juice to a simmer, and we only need to simmer it just for a few minutes, nothing too long or too crazy. We'll keep our eye on that. I'll chuck a lid on just to help the process to come up to temperature. And I'm also not going to worry about straining my orange juice. It's going to have some pulp in. The pulp that was on top of the juicer, I didn't chuck that in, that got discarded, but any pieces that did go right through, I'm just keeping it in. It's completely fine. That doesn't bother us. If you don't want pulp, then definitely run it through a sieve before it goes onto the pot, onto the heat. But yeah, I'm not worrying about that step because it doesn't bother us. That's good. That's better than last year's oranges. That's good. Alright, again I apologize for the lighting, but now this is coming up to a simmer. What we're going to do is get these jars out. They're not overly hot. They're not as hot as I expected them to. But we're just going to get the water out. Alright, so the jars are out. I want to move kind of quickly before the jars start to cool down. I got my canning funnel here. I just got a cup measurement just to kind of scoop it. So I've turned the heat now off of this juice. Just give that a mix. And we want to leave roughly 1 inch of headspace because we're water bathing. Apparently, so I've read, it's not as important to get it exactly the right headspace. So I will be eyeballing it. And this is my first time canning, just eyeballing the headspace. So hopefully that's all okay. And I'm actually going to now turn the water back on in our pressure canner or our canning pot. I should stop saying pressure canning, pressure canner. It is a pressure canner, but we're water bath canning. So I got the water back on for that so that can start heating back up because we want this to all boil together.
So I'm just going through and filling up all of these jars, and I just wanted to make something a little bit more clear. I feel like I wasn't very clear with explaining this whole quote-unquote pasteurising process. So we want to simmer the orange juice for just a few minutes. I believe I went for about 5-6 minutes. I do remember when the timer was off, I was preoccupied with something else, so it still went a couple of minutes, and it's fine. It didn't hurt it, nothing like that. The further you do go with pasteurising it or simmering it, the more or less nutrition you kind of cook out of it, so you don't want it to go for too long at all. But yeah, so I just wanted to clear that up. And water bathing or canning, it doesn't matter. I mean, water bathing or pressure canning, it doesn't matter. You still want to wipe the rings with vinegar, pop on a lid, pop on the ring finger tight, and yeah, get that same process done and all prepared, which I am doing here. And then popping them into the canning, and then we're going to let the fun begin.
This water level is much bigger, so I am now going to take some of this water out. I guess just getting them at belt to temp, it didn't actually have to be all submerged, which makes sense. I just didn't really realise it. And I've just put the lid back on. Again, it's no need to lock it. I didn't have to lock it or anything because I do want to come across and then just constantly come and peep to see if it's boiling. Once it is at an actual boil, not a simmer but a full boil, I will then pop the timer on just for 10 minutes. And then she's done, she's canned. That easy. We don't have to worry about this dial. That has nothing to do with it, because it's just purely water bath canning. So they've just finished 10 minutes boiling. I've taken off the lid, I've turned off the heat with the dial, and now we're going to wait 5 minutes just for it to settle a little bit, and then we can take them out. In this pot I got another 4 litres of orange juice coming up to a simmer. My only thing is, having glass jars at room temp, now going to this really hot water. So I don't know, I might pre-warm up some jars just with the kitchen sink tap so they're a little bit warm, and then pop them in this water, and then when they're ready, take them out to fill up with there. Something like that, I'm not too sure. Alright, so this is the first batch of orange juice all out. I've kind of done it this way just so I had room here for the jars for the hot orange juice pot to go in, but they are now in the canner. This is just coming up to temperature, it's not boiling yet. But they have all sealed. I always get so impatient. I know I should just leave them, but I get impatient and I always want to try and see if they're sealed. And to be honest, they took longer than usual. I think 5 out of the 9 sealed almost instantly, and 4 of them didn't, and I kind of did get a little disheartened because water bathing supposedly is supposed to be quicker and easier, and then I'm like, they didn't seal, but I was definitely too impatient. They have all sealed, which is fantastic. Rings are going to stay on until tomorrow. I have my sourdough here, which I need to feed. I'm not going to do that on camera, you guys have seen that plenty of times, but you can see the bubbles in here. It's not overly actively mega bubbly, and that's purely just because we're in the winter and just the temperature here, but you can see the bubbles through it. And I've started saving the discard. I saved it yesterday, it was my first time, so I'm going to save it again today when I feed. Hi, me again. So apparently I never finished this video, but yeah, thank you so much for watching. I ended up stopping recording just because I did have my dishwasher on, my washing machine on, the lighting went bad, and I just never really picked up the camera again. I successfully canned another lot of 9 orange juice jars. Every single jar had sealed. I remember the second batch did take, I think, even longer than the first batch for the seal, like for the pinging sound. Not too sure why that is, but they all did end up pinning, so that was just make my heart so happy that they all worked and was successful. And it is great having our freshly squeezed orange juice on the shelf. We still have oranges in the tree. We've just been having fresh orange juice. I haven't actually opened up any of the jars yet, but they look all good, and I have been tempted just to try it, but I also just want to wait until, like, we're not in the orange season. We don't have any oranges on our tree. But thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe down below so you don't miss out on my future videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.